I was in the Indianapolis airport, and I was eating dinner because we had Indiana Purdue at 2, and I had a flight at 7. So the game tipped at what? 6?
6.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I was sitting at the Harry and Izzy's at the Indy airport, and they got a million TVs, and I was like, oh, good, I'll get to watch kind of the fanfare and the start before I have to leave. And that Kansas-Texas game, you don't even know this. It went to overtime, and Jalen Coleman-Lands made a shot that didn't count by like maybe 0.2 of a second, 1/10 of a second. I mean, it was, you have to think, not what the network wanted. Yeah.
Definitely.
But that game was huge too. Like that was for the Big 12.
Yep.
And so they were cutting in and out, and you got to see some of it, but probably not all of it. So yeah, I got to see that. And then I don't think, because that game went so long and I had to leave for my flight, I didn't get to watch any of the game.
Yeah. And the game became significant. We didn't think it was going to be significant at all. And the lead up was cool, Rob. I think I told you, even when we did the podcast, to me, the lead up was cool. It wasn't as crazy as I thought it was going to be the day before the game because all the tents were gone out front. But the day of the game, it was awesome in that main area, right by game day. It was packed. Fans come in. All these environments this year, you appreciate them so much more because we didn't have them last year. So they're all great. Like, Texas Tech was the best for me, but Providence was awesome. UCLA was great when they played Villanova. Obviously, this one was great. And then you had the game, and I was shocked. I was shocked that Carolina came out and played as hard and as mentally tough as they did. But my take on that was, weren't they pretty loose? I mean, I know they're on the bubble, but they're still loose because nobody thinks they're going to win the game.
Well, I wanted to ask you, did you think that Duke's players were overly tight because of the fact that, this is Coach's last home game, last game against Carolina? Do you think that impacted those dudes? You don't
at the end, yes.
I saw the videos of him talking, and everybody looked like, season's over. Like, and that's where you hear Coach K say that.
But they were up, Rob. Like, so here's what happened is Carolina got off to a good start. Then Bake got picked up his second foul with about 6 minutes left in the first half. He begged to go back in the game. Hubert wouldn't put him back in the game. Duke went on a run. They went up about 10. They literally went on a real, I said it. I looked over to Norlander next to me. I said, all right, Duke's going to be up 10 at the half. Yep. Well, they went up 10 quickly with about 2 minutes left in the half in the span of about 4 or 5 minutes. And then Carolina came back, cut it to 2. I forget. I think it was RJ Davis hit a 3 maybe at the end of the half to cut it to 2. So I'm like, all right, like maybe this will be a game a little bit. Maybe we'll get a game at the end. So I don't think it was necessarily Duke playing tight until the end. And then Carolina was up with 5 minutes left, with 2 minutes left. And then you saw guys taking dumb, ill-advised early in the shot clock shots. And then they got tight. You could see it. But I don't think they were tight after the first maybe couple minutes. I think they were amped up early.
Yeah. They got off to a bad start, didn't they?
That's why I think they were
too high.
Yes. Too high. I could see like the beauty of Duke compared to anywhere else is we still get those seats that are right. I mean, the best seats in the house because you're in front of the Cameron Crazies. Right. Literally, Trevor Keels here's how tight it is. I couldn't stand for the national anthem. There's no way you can get up. You have to climb over the table to get into your seat. Once you're in the seat, they are on you. I felt guilty as hell, but I could not stand up for the national anthem.
Did you get stuff poured? Was it paint or is it beer that you said? Did you get paint dumped on you?
Not much. Yeah, it was not. Actually, I probably should look at my jacket. I shouldn't say that. There probably is. It's a blue jacket, so there probably is blue paint on there. So then, after the game, obviously the big thing was they lose. They go in the locker room for 15 minutes. They come out.
So it was pretty long. It was a long wait then.
Yeah, 13, 15 minutes. Well, I'm sure he lit into his team. Come on. I'm sure he said, I asked Paulo, and Paulo said, yeah, he was disappointed in us. He was pissed off. And I came out and he was pissed off and disappointed. You could see it. He grabbed the microphone, basically said, this is an embarrassment. I apologize. His family tried to, stop him.
Wait, an embarrassment. Like Carolina is on scholarship. It's a rivalry game. They lost, but an embarrassment.
So then later in the media, he was very complimentary to Carolina.
I mean, Armando Bacot is an animal. That dude,
he was awesome.
He lives with 20 and 15. That's what he does. So I just, when I heard him say it's an embarrassment, I was so confused because it's not like they lost to a D2 school.
He was embarrassed by their effort. He was embarrassed by their effort, I think, was a bit in their fight and they're probably their mental toughness. All of the things that we've hammered Carolina for all year. That's kind of what Duke was on this night. And again, the pressure was there. No doubt they had heard about it all week. But as bad as K was in that post game to the crowd that was caught on camera by everybody, because I think ESPN stuck with it, he was that good in the post game to the media afterwards. I think then he had a chance to kind of take everything in. And he was funny. He made fun of himself. He said how much he's happy that this is over. And even like, okay, here's a small example, but I think it does say a lot about somebody. I've seen a lot of coaches go after student reporters. When student reporters ask a question, whether it's a good question or bad question, a lot of coaches look at them like they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Well, the last question came from a student reporter at Duke. And I loved how Kay looked him in the eye, the entire question, answered it. Probably, might be the last time again that reporter gets a chance to ask Kay a question. You do learn something about somebody that in that context, because I've seen enough guys go at these kids and I think it's bullshit. And he was obviously coming off an embarrassing loss. So how much do you think, how does this affect Duke now going into the ACC tournament, Rob? And then we'll talk about what's on the line for the ACC tournament besides for Duke.
I don't think it affects them at all, honestly. I think it's one game. I think it's a tough deal where you wanted to win it. There was a lot of pressure on you to win it. You didn't. And, like Coach K said, we have a lot to play for still. They're a good team. So I think it's probably more of a footnote in history now. It's like, Duke lost Coach K's last home game against their rival.
When they
killed them. Yeah, right. It's more of that, but I don't think the ACC tournament, I don't know if they can still get to that 1 seed. I want to say they're pretty harshly on the 2 line.
Yeah.
So to me, you win a game. If you lose after that in the semis, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's just get ready for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, they were bad defensively. That was the one thing that they got to shore up. RJ Davis just got to the basket whenever he wanted, did whatever he wanted. He looked like damn Kyrie Irving out there at times.